New Year's Address to Journalists 2022. Éric Zemmour. January 10, 2022. Translated by at Malmesbury Man. Narrated by Skeptical Waves. Ladies and gentlemen journalists. For my first and last New Year's wishes to the press as a candidate in the presidential election, I would like to say a few words. In 1 year to the day, I will invite you to the Élysée and our relations will no longer be the same. You will address me with respect, admiration, solicitude, and even a bit of hypocrisy, as you always do with presidents. And despite the acute sense I will have for the seriousness of my very lofty duty, I will respond to you with a sympathy that breaks in a striking manner with the style of my predecessor, this illustrious pain in the ass, according to his own self-portrait, which he draws himself, and in which we see a striking resemblance. However, alas, the solitary nature of power being what it is, I will be president. You won't. I will have to put between us a necessary distance so that you will say of me, he is presidential. We'll see. I may be a Gaullist, but I promise to be the least Jupiterian possible, and I will put an end to having a president who responds in the most empty manner to your most hollow questions. We will dialogue, we will debate, and it will no longer be ideology that has the last word, but France. And how could I take you down? Barely 6 months ago, I was still one of you. You may have portrayed me as a polemicist of the extreme right. But I was your colleague. You may have claimed that offering myself up for the highest office was a bluffing stunt intended to sell my latest book. A flash in the pan good for one news cycle. You tried to convince yourselves that I was just a provocateur. Nevertheless, I was your fellow. Yes, it was only yesterday that I was one of you. Of course, I was different, and for 3 reasons. First, I was on the right. Whereas 99% of you supported François Hollande tooth and nail, now 99% of you support Emmanuel Macron. Second, I speak and write in French. Your mother tongue is political correctness. Last, I am popular. I was the most controversial among us, and among you, yes, but also the most applauded. Meanwhile you were neither controversial nor applauded. You have often presented me as the most hated man in France when in reality, you were always the most unpopular man and women in France. But, who doesn't love you? The people, my good friends. For you see, the people remember their common sense and clear-headedness. The people are against you. And unfortunately they are right to be against you. The people are angry. They say a lot of bad things about you, all of you. For the last 6 months I have been up and down and all around France. I discuss everything with everyone I meet. I can tell you that not one time, not even in dream, did a single Frenchman tell me, come on, stop saying bad things about journalists. I love journalists. No, you are not loved, my good friends. The people have been dressing you down for 100 years. But the question is it deserved? Are you responsible for the terrible reputation you have with your fellow citizens? Are you guilty of the deeds of which you are accused by the court of public opinion? If I want to remain objective, I must answer, no. Because I know. I know what you are living with. Because I understand your situation. And of all the candidates, I am indisputably the one who knows you the best. I am not unaware that certain ones among you are made to suffer by your editorial staff if you dare to cover me impartially, or worse, say good things about me. I have lived with the nasty looks, the cold handshakes. It will be the same for anyone who dares not qualify me according to the common refrain of polemicist, extreme, extreme right, radical, and extreme. I know the pressure that is put on you. From journalism school to TV sets, it is the pressure of an ideology that will do anything to impose its dogmas. I know how it goes. It took years for me to free myself. I know how easy it is to use the takes of your colleagues, for fear of originality, for fear of thinking for yourself, for fear of being marginalized. Where does this sheep-like tendency to copy each other come from? As Régis Debray said, what is a journalist? He who reads other journalists. Indeed, journalism is not a job like other jobs, in any case, not in France. I say this for the youngest among you, as it will be very useful for you over the course of your career. French journalism is intimately linked with literature, politics, and history. French journalism, from its beginnings, is the motor of every revolution. In 1830, the people of Paris even overthrew a king to defend the freedom of the press. French journalism is a branch of French literature. So many of our great writers were also journalists. Lamartine, Chateaubriand, Victor Hugo, Zola, Daudet, Bainville, Camus, Sartre, Aragon, Mauriac. So many others. All of them wrote articles, crafted editorials, published investigations. Our greatest authors and our greatest writers alike have thrown themselves feverishly into political life. Journalism. Literature. Politics. A magical trio. A French trio, for better or worse. The best, the style, the big ideas, the great ideals. The worst, the bad faith, the invective, the sectarianism. Having lost his illusions, Balzac wrote the most acerbic criticism of your profession. You haven't aged a bit, just changed your technology. The press, whether written or video, remains the temple of progressivism that it was before. In Balzac's time, you were patriots, liberals, socialists. Today you are anti-racist, feminist, environmentalist. Woke culture has taken the place of Marxism, which took the place of socialism, which took the place of liberalism. Never mind reality, provided you have the right ideology. Never mind truth, provided you have the head of your adversary on the end of a pike. I know the oldest among you are uneasy with the arrival of social networks in the media world. They see in it an intolerable rivalry, a den of lies, the cradle of fake news. Of course, it's a mixed bag on social networks. But the press, in my opinion, should examine itself instead. The internet is to journalism what the printing press was to priests. The priests lost their monopoly over interpretation of the Bible with the printing press. Everyone could read the Bible for themselves, and no longer listen to the words of the priest. That gave us Protestantism. The new priests, who are the journalists, have with the internet lost their monopoly on the interpretation of the news in the world. This has given us what you call, with disdain, populism. I see it as a great victory for democracy and liberty against ideology. For ideology, holding an iron grip on the universities and the journalism schools, controls journalism, and by way of this dictates the political agenda of the whole country. Using you, it imposes its frame of reference on the will of the people. But it has lost this monopoly, and that is an enormous victory for pluralism, to have the ability to speak the truth when power dissembles. I say to young people, do not oppose social networks, or the people will oppose you. And without the people you are nothing, unless you would live off subsidies, and then you would be less than nothing. You understand that of all the candidates, I am the one who feels an immoderate love for the profession of journalism, for its irresistible capacity to oppose itself to the fatality of falsehood and to conquer it like an angel leveling a demon. Journalism is my former profession, but it remains a passion for me that has not passed. That's what made me come speak to you. I see you, and I say to myself, they are the hostages of ideology, and it is unjust. One could say the people deserve better than you, but above all it is you who deserve better than the intellectual slavery that is imposed on you. It is from this situation that I will liberate you when I am president, to rediscover the joy of no longer being subdued. You will finally be actually heard, finally be deeply respected, finally, maybe loved, even. Who knows? Public broadcasters will no longer spit on taxpayers every day while they have their breakfasts. They will no longer beat up on reality every evening on the 8 o'clock news. 2022 will be the year that many things change. It will also be the year of the rebirth of French journalism. The true. The great. That which has been suffocated under the lead weight of political correctness. That which will rediscover inspiration, critical spirit, courage, glory. That which will pick back up its taste for combat against falsehood. The fight for truth is a battle without arms, but it is a battle that is harsh, captivating. It is the battle of all your being, and it will remain mine. So, former colleagues, it is with sincerity and with an outstretched hand of nostalgic brotherhood that I wish you a happy new year 2022. I wish that you will seek the truth, find the truth, speak the truth. I wish to liberate you from your ideological blinkers, to think at last entirely for yourselves, without ceding to the nagging pressure of conformism. I wish that you will fulfill the most exciting profession in the world. I wish for you to be journalists. And now, long live the Republic, and above all, long live France.